second chance. He's funky great. He's got that swag. Local cultist, let your flag drag. And all I was gonna keep you to grooving with Greg. You know you're smooth.
Hello, and welcome to At All Hours. I'm your host, Greg Ramirez. What do you guys think of this new badass intro song? Shout out to my boy Richie for hooking me up with this tasty jam and dropping this fucking song out of nowhere. Killer vocals. I heard him sing it himself in person. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't witnessed greatness myself. So thank you, Richie. That song is going to be available in its entirety on the Cultist YouTube channel. So go and check that out if you don't already subscribe to it, which you probably aren't, which is fine. But yeah, shout out to Richie. It's a insane song. He just sent it to me pretty out of nowhere and was just didn't explain it, just made this song and then sent it to me. So pretty crazy. Definitely an honor to have this cool song made about myself, about just Cultist in general, At All Hours. You know, it's pretty cool. It's not something that, like, obviously, like everything, like with At All Hours and, you know, with my music with Cultist, I don't have like a big following at all. It's like most of the people that do engage with anything that I'm doing, it's all like people I'd probably know personally. Maybe a few people who like follow the things I'd make, that are not like close personal friends. But even then, it's like having people who are, you know, willing to put in the time to make something like this is pretty crazy. And it's really good, which is the best part. 'Cause it's like, you know, I don't know if you guys have ever had like someone make something for you and it like sucks and you're just like, it's obviously the thought that counts, whatever, you know, but then it's like, well, it still kind of sucks, you know. But or like even worse, this is like so bad when you're like, I know anyone that makes music is going to know what I'm talking about in this feeling, which is like when someone is like, oh, you're a musician, I make music too, like I'm a rapper or I'm like a singer or this or that, whatever it is. And then you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, well, what do you do? And then they're like, well, I make this, I make that. Like, here, you could check it out. And maybe you guys exchange, like if you're a musician too, you exchange kind of like stuff, right? And you check out their music and you're like, oh, this is like not very good. It just sucks because it just kind of feels like you don't want to be mean, which, I mean, the thing is, it's like you're not trying to be mean if you're just being honest, but it's like you also don't want to be rude or like discourage them because, you know, obviously everyone has to start somewhere. The thing is, though, if you're like, I've been rapping for like 5 years and your like newest song that came out like a few months ago is like garbage and it sounds like you're recording it like on a phone, and it's just like, I don't know, it's a weird situation to be put in. That's why I usually like I don't take compliments well in general, but when someone tells me like, oh, I listened to your music, it was really good, it's like I just don't really know what to make of it sometimes because I'm like, I wouldn't tell me my music sucks, you know? I guess it's different if you go out of your way. If you're like, hey, I actually listened to it and it was really good, I really love this song, this and that, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to be like, thanks so much. I'm just tell people, I'm like, thank you. Like, that means a lot. Like, it really means a lot that you even listen to it. And if you enjoy it, awesome. But there are a few people who have told me and they're like, no, I listen to it like all the time actually, which is nice, but whatever. Fuck my music. And, well, fuck you too, but not Richie. He's cool. Or Brian. He's cool too. But yeah, speaking of music, that brings us to our first topic. Well, it's music. I already said it, but yeah, music. So, not my music though. Thankfully, don't worry. I'm not going to be talking about Oh, actually, before I don't talk about my music, I'm gonna talk about my music real quick. Um, Sorry in advance, but I'm actually gonna be putting out uh I'm gonna be re-releasing the album Apocalypse pretty soon. Date TBD. I don't want to put it. I don't want to wait too long on it. But I do want to kind of promote it a little bit. But it's nothing. It's not going to be anything crazy. Basically, I'm going to be re-releasing my album Apocalypse. Which, if you don't know, I mean, listen to any other episode. I've talked about it a few times already. I can't stop talking about myself. But I put out my album this past February 2024. In case you're listening in the future or something, I don't know why, but I actually put it out on February 29th because this year was a leap year. So technically, I'm not going to hit my 1 year mark until 4 years from now. Or I think that's every leap year, right? 4 years? Can you fact check that? Great. Um, but yeah, whatever. So clever, right? Um, but I'm gonna be putting out Apocalypse again, but it's just gonna be an instrumental. So all of the songs are gonna be there except for the first song, Catalyst, because it doesn't have any vocals in it anyway. So it's just going to be a pure instrumental album. Same songs, same everything. A little mixed a little bit differently, since the vocals aren't going to be in there. Um, but yeah, it also kind of I just kind of figured it'd be fun to be able to listen to the songs without vocals. Kind of, I don't know, like to give like a more I don't know how to put it, like more attention to just the instrumentals and not be so distracted by the vocals, which I just kind of feel like if you're interested in like just the instrumentation, it's kind of hard to hear it when you have like, these nasally annoying vocals over everything. So I really wanted to do something like that. I thought it'd be fun to put it out. And I just kind of figured, well, I'd go through just, um, clear the vocals and then just put out the tracks, which it was basically that. But when I listened back, like I was kind of like proofing it and just kind of seeing like how it sounded and just actually listening to the songs. I haven't listened to the songs without vocals probably since I put the like before I put the album out, because I would record all of the songs instrumentals first and then sing over it, basically. Like vocals were usually the last part that I would sing. Maybe if I added like a solo in or something like that I would write for it. Um, but typically the vocals were like the last thing that I did. So it was kind of, and at the time, obviously, it's like, if you're someone who creates some sort of art or anything like that, you kind of look at your whatever it is you're creating in different stages, like in different ways. So when I'm listening to like the tracks without like just the instrumental, essentially, I'm not listening to it as like I don't know, my frame of thought was like different because um I'm like working on it rather than like just sitting and like, listening to it and enjoying it. And like I'm listening to it in a different way, like really critically of it, rather than just sitting and like enjoying it, right? And now it's been out for 9 months or something like that. And I'm now able to like just sit and listen to the song because they're done. It's just, re-release of the same songs. But I'm able to sit back and just kind of listen to it now without thinking like, oh, I should do this. I should change this. I should, it's like, it's already done. The songs are done. So now I'm able to listen to it in a different mindset, and it's pretty interesting. And I've been really enjoying like, just being able to listen to just the instrumentals because I've been like kind of so far away. And if anyone's like curious, I don't listen to my songs that much. Like, like very rarely, if ever. And if I do, it's usually like one or two songs that I really like. And it's like, which, yes, everyone has favorites for like whatever they're creating. So I have some of my favorite songs from Apocalypse that I've listened to more than the others. But I yeah, it's just a weird kind of thing that I didn't realize that I would be like doing, which is listening just kind of and enjoying it, you know? But yeah, so it sounds really cool. It sounds like, a little, it's like just listening it in a different way. So I've been really enjoying it, but that's going to be coming out soon. I'm thinking maybe like December. Does that sound good to you guys? Is that too long? Whatever. You wouldn't have known about it anyway. So whatever. Get off my back. Okay. It'll come out in December. How about that? Maybe I'll make you guys wait till January. It's not like anyone's going to care, but I'll put it out in December, I guess. Um, Now we can go to our the thing I wanted to talk about, um, which is good music. um, Within the past 30 days, 'cause today is what, November 3rd that I'm recording this, or is it? I shouldn't have said that. Whatever. So within the past 30 days, I've seen I've gone to 3 different shows, and they were incredibly fun, and I just want to talk about them a little bit. So I went to go see. There's this rapper. His name's Professor. Um, I saw him with Andy in at the observatory, the Santa Ana Observatory. Which every time I say that, people are always like, there's shows at the Griffith Observatory, and I don't know why. That's like the first thing everyone thinks, but not the Griffith Observatory. It's actually Santa Ana. But we went and we saw him. If you've ever been to the observatory in Santa Ana, it's a really small venue, so it's really like intimate. Like you can be really up close with any artist that you're seeing. Like I've seen Orville Peck there. I've seen Yellow Days. I saw Raekwon and Ghostface there. So it's a really cool, like really small venue. So we saw him, and it was a really good show. It was really like energetic and super fun. Right after that, Andy and I went to we're fucking far in Santa Ana because I live in, don't worry about it, but not Santa Ana, far from Santa Ana, or is it? So after the show, we went to like a couple places that were like that we had been to before. So there was like this like festival that, like, I think it was maybe like 2 years ago or something, like 2 or 3 years ago. We went to this festival and just kind of like happened upon it, I think. And when we went up, um, we just it was like a big like Chinese festival, and they had like a bunch of food vendors and people like playing music and dancing and stuff. It was really cool. And then we realized we were like right down the street from it, and we kind of ended up just near it again. And when we went back, it was really strange because we were in the same area that we had been in, years ago, but now it's like there's no festival going on, and also it was pretty late, so the street was like completely dead, and it was just kind of this weird surreal experience. We were also pretty drunk, but and we smoked some stuff, we smoked some very legal stuff. Uh, so, but yeah, it was a really weird like experience to be back somewhere that we had like had these really deep memories from, but there's nothing there. It's kind of like this like kind of surrealist like idea that people have, or like this like concept where it's like um being like in a dream or like in a memory, but when you go into that memory there's no one there anymore because everyone's continued on, but the location is still there. It was just really weird. Maybe we were a little more fucked up than I thought, but whatever. Then after that we went to some like bar and it was really cool. It was a really weird area, Santa Ana. Some of the like bar areas are just kind of back rooms ish, but like back rooms neighborhoods, back rooms city. You know, I don't know something about it. But whatever. So we saw Prof, and then that was on the 6th, I think, of or the 9th. I think it was the 9th of October. Then on the 26th, we went to go see we went to go see a little band by the name of Knocked Loose. And the Knocked Loose show was great for starters. It was so cool. But it was also like an absolute like dumpster fire of events that happened to all of us because we all just like got all of us just got our fucking shit wrecked that night. So to start, it was also at the observatory, but it wasn't inside the observatory. It was outside of the observatory in like the parking lot, but they set up like a stage outside, which I've never seen. I didn't even know they did that. But if you've ever been to the observatory, it's got a like decent sized parking lot, but it's not huge. And they had like a huge stage set up outside, and then it was like a festival. It was actually like a festival where it's like they had the outdoor stage and then the crowd area, and then they blocked off both sides of the street so you could walk into the street, and they had food trucks, like vendors just set up, and they were just selling food. It was pretty insane. So um we were going to go, and I went. It was me and Andy and Noel and my dad, who is 61 years old. And he's old as shit and can't walk without like a walker. Um, which, if you want to find out about my dad's history as a metalhead, you can listen to. My wire's all messed up. You can listen to episode 10 of At All Hours because my dad goes into some detail of, what it was like going to Ozfest when he was younger, and my mom was not very happy about that. But my dad was gonna go, and it was gonna be his first show in a really long time, and he was super, super excited. Probably more excited than the three of us combined. So we drive out to the observatory, and we all get like we pregame a little bit. My dad's like so fucking pumped. He's got a custom made Knock Loose shirt. He's like ready for like a fucking. He wanted to get there at like 1 in the afternoon to start like the day, start pre-gaming and doing. And I'm like, it's not really like how how this is going. It's like it's not Ozfest where like the first band doesn't come on until like 6. So like we're not getting there at 1. And then like in an empty parking lot. They probably won't even let us in. Like there's nothing there. So but we get there, and we go in. We get drinks when we're in there. And the first band was Military Gun, super cool band. And then the second band that came on was Drain. And Noel was in line for merch when Drain was coming on. So I went and swapped out with him so that he could go pit, because Noel loves going to like punk shows and metal shows and whatever else, but is usually just kind of like, we'll go watch the show and then bounce. And then for him to be like, I'm going to get in the pit. Like, I need to pit for Drain. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, let's do it. So I swap out with him, and he goes in, and then like later on he comes back out of the pit and he swaps back out and gets back in line. And then find out after that when he went into the pit, I think he told me that it was because since we're in like a parking lot, like there's still all the like stuff that's normally in a parking lot, it's still there. So like the like the little kind of like the parking bricks, like when you pull up into a parking spot, the little like concrete brick, like those are still there. The little like small island kind of between like parking, like, it's like you park and then there's like a little grass patch and then there's like, the other parking side. Those are still there, but they just have kind of like rubber ramps that are put to kind of like help smooth it out. But I think what he told me was that he like stepped off, like he was pitting and then he stepped off somewhere thinking like it was going to be flat and it kind of dipped down and he like displaced his hip, where his hip like kind of came out of place, or like he threw his hip out like a fucking old bitch. And then he's like, he comes out and he's like beat up already. So after that, also through the whole night, I'm not constantly with everyone. Like everyone's kind of moving around, doing their thing. And at one point, apparently Andy's drinking like crazy all night, and at some point gets like really drunk. And I okay, it's getting to the point where I could tell she's getting too drunk, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to take her out right now. Take her out. I guess you guys couldn't see. I put the finger guns to my temple, but you guys can't see it anyway. I feel stupid. So I thought, okay, well, I have to take her now while she can still walk, but she's not like she can barely move. Like she can barely walk out right now, but she can walk at least. So I have to take her out and um take her to the restroom, take her out, and then they're like, "Hey, like, are you leaving?" And I tell them like I lied to them, and I'm like, "Oh, she's getting picked up right now. I just need to walk her out, but her friend's here to pick her up, and I just need to make sure she gets to the car okay." And they're like, okay, well, what kind of car is it? Because you can't just." And I'm like, ugh. So they give me a bunch of shit, and I end up walking her out, take her to the car, and she's like, still kind of like coherent. Like basically, she won't just black out. She's like, like she even told me after, she like still kind of remembers like the night. She remembers like what happened, but like it just would not black out. So she's not so drunk where she's gonna black out, but if she has another drink, it'll happen, and I don't want it to happen while we're in the show. So I just kind of end up staying out, and I'm like stuck. And then it's like, okay, well, now I have to wait for her to black out essentially, and then she does eventually black out, and then she just falls asleep in the car, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna stay out here because it's like in a parking lot that I could still see the stage. I'm just really far now, and I just know, I'm like, Andy would want me to abandon her, so I do, and I lock the door. And I run back to the show because Knock Loose has now started. Which also, after Drain, it was Danny Brown, which was like insane. I don't know if any of you listen to like the slim margin of people that listen to Danny Brown and listen to Knock Loose. It's, kind of a weird like combo, but it worked. He played songs from Scare and the Hose, if anyone's a fan of Scare and the Hose. Not like generally Scare and the Hose, but the album Scare and the Hose with JPEG Mafia. He played some songs from that. He played a lot of his own shit. It was really cool. But whatever, that's not what I'm here to talk about. So I go back as Knock Loose is coming out because they're playing they started with the fucking Unsolved Mysteries theme song. Put in the theme song right here. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But they play the fucking intro theme song to Unsolved Mysteries, and I was like, this is pretty cool. So I run back in, and now my dad and Noelle are not in like the meetup spot that we were going to be at, because the whole night my dad is like insistent on getting into the pit. And it's like, you are 60 years old. You're old, man. You have a walker, which I don't know if I mentioned that. My dad has a walker. It's not like a walker, but you think of like an old person in a walker. It's like those walkers that have like a seat on it that you can it has like the little like little bag thing underneath or whatever. But yeah, he has a walker with a little chair on it. And like I try to find him, and my dad, Noel tells me after too that he's like, your dad would just not take no for an answer. He had to go in. So eventually I find him, and they're like pretty deep in the pit, and there's like multiple like circle pits going on. There people are like opening up the pit and like crowd killing, right? Which if you don't know what crowd killing is, it's basically, you know how in all of the like all of these different like metal shows, it'll be like a big open pit, and then you just see people like swinging their arms and fucking each other up. That's crowd killing. So that's what people are doing. My dad's right there, like in the middle of it. So at one point, I'm also really drunk now. So I'm like telling my dad, like, let's go in the middle, let's go in the pit. And people are like crowd killing around us. People are pitting around us. Like my dad's in the middle of a pit, and like people are like swinging like fucking crazy. And at some point, um, like I'm trying to play defense and like make sure my dad doesn't get, decapitated. Um, but that doesn't work because as my dad's trying to exit the pit, someone comes and like basically double uh swinging like back fist knocks my dad out. Unless my mom's listening, that didn't happen. But basically, also another weird thing. If you watched, there was a fight that day on October 26th, and one of the fighters won by doing this like double swinging back fist thing, and that's basically how my dad got knocked out. It was pretty incredible to watch actually, but I didn't see it happen. I just saw I was walking and I turned back and I saw my dad on the floor and he was getting up and I was like, what the fuck? And so now I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Cause like my dad had like a heart condition and then had to like get like blood thinners. So if he gets like a bruise or if he gets hurt really bad, like it's really bad. And so I stand him up and we walk out and I'm like, are you okay? Do you feel it? And he's like, so pumped. Like he's already like, I'm going back in. I need to go back. And I was like, you're out of your goddamn mind, dude. You're like 100 years old. Like it's not happening. And he's like insistent. Like he's like, I need to go back in. Like I want to go. So now I have to go into the pit and like pit on his behalf. So now I'm in the middle and I'm like crowd killing hard. Like I'm swinging like I'm like trying to fucking kill people with like I'm actually I feel like I'm like someone's breaking into my house and I'm gonna fucking kill them right now with how hard I'm fucking swinging right now. And yeah, that like my dad just sits back and watches me fucking crowd kill people, and it was awesome. But earlier in the night, I didn't notice because now that we're leaving, I'm like exhausted. I'm like sweaty, and all my adrenaline's like kind of coming down. I'm losing my buzz a little bit, and I realize like my hand really fucking hurts. And earlier in the night, when I was looking for my dad and looking for Noel, I was basically like going through the pit and like having to pit my way through everywhere to try to see if I could find him and see him anywhere. And while I'm pitting, at one point I like swing and I hit like my like like a backswing with my fist, and when I swing back, my finger, like my index finger is kind of sticking out a little bit. So when I swing, it like hits my finger and my finger like locks up and I see it and I'm like, oh, like it looks bad. And I just pull it because I'm a doctor. And I pull it and I feel it like pop and then it like goes back like into its place and I can move my hand again. And I'm like, okay, I guess we'll see what happens with that. And later on through the night, I don't feel it because I'm just like, I'm drunk. I'm like all jacked up. I'm all jazzed on fucking metalcore. And then later on in the night, I'm like, my fucking hand hurts. Like I feel like I dislocated or like hyperextended my finger. And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. And we will just kind of hang out for a bit, wait until the crowd leaves, and then we drive home. Fun night, right? And then the next day, I'm sitting down on the couch with Andy and we're watching like TV, whatever. And every time I open and close my hand, it just feels like my fingers like not able to close all the way. Like I'm not able to fully bend my finger all the way because I could feel like pain in my joint, like on my knuckle. So I'm like sitting with Andy and I don't say anything to her. I'm just kind of like like fucking like squeezing my hand, and I go to like pull my finger again, and like try to pop my, like it feels like it's like stuck. Like there's like it's like when something needs to crack and it's like stiff. Um, and I pull it and I feel it like kind of pull back out of place, and I push it back in, and then my finger was able to bend completely normally again. That was a week ago, and it's still kind of fucked up, but um, it feels way better than it did at the time. So that's what happened to all of us when we went to go see Knocked Loose. Um, and then just yesterday, or was it on November 2nd, though? Um, Andy and I went to go see Deontward, which is insane, and it was super cool. It was a super fun show, and it was just cool. Like I've never seen Deontward. They're one of like I don't know if you guys have like this kind of like thing, this like artist or a band that you're like, oh my god, I don't know what I would like, what I wouldn't give to go see them live. And Deontward's one of those bands. I never saw them for, I mean, they haven't played in like 7 years or some shit like that. So I was incredibly hyped to go see them. They played at the Bellwether, which is like a really small venue. I've never been there, but it was a really small venue, and it was like I was really like close to them without even having to try. And yeah, it was pretty badass. I got a new ski mask, so I can go back to robbing places like that. I lost mine when I went to go see Idols in San Francisco. And did I talk about that at some point? I think I did. When I broke my toe, I must have. I don't know. Play it back. Put up the clip. Put up that whole story if it exists. If not, I'm gonna tell it again. Just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, Deontward, 10 out of 10. Put on a fucking awesome show, and it was um like a huge check mark off of some groups that I wanted to see. But anyway, enough about me. Why don't we talk about you? Huh? How about that? How what is it like for you to be the one on display now? What is that like? Huh? What have you been up to lately? Oh, really? That's cool. Anyway, yawn. So, I also one of my favorite things right now. Everyone's like so dick wet over like Halloween. I first I want to preface this. I don't hate Halloween. In fact, I like Halloween. But whatever, okay? Like Halloween is fun, dressing up's fun, whatever. I feel like I lost my Halloween spirit, like because of where I live now. Like I live in like a back house, and it's like a big property, but there's like a front house, and there's like a driveway that leads to my house in the back. So you can't really even see my house from like the street. And not only that, but like the neighborhood I live in is very quiet. It's like very um like a lot of the people that live in my neighborhood are like older people also. And Halloween is just always like really dead around here. There's no one, like me and Eddie drove around uh for Halloween like at night, just cuz we had all gone out like bar hopping earlier in the month to go, like we dressed up and stuff. But um we tried to see if there was like houses set up or anything, like, if it was kind of popping, and it wasn't. It was like completely dead in the neighborhood. And like in a lot of areas, like it was like I don't know what it is, just the city I live in is like really not like a Halloween kind of place, I guess. I don't fucking know, but um I feel like that's kind of one of the reasons why I just kind of glaze over like Halloween and stuff. Like we don't decorate because we don't have a house that can even be seen from the street. And then we don't give out candy because no one like trick or treats in the area. And even if they do, it's like we're in a back house, so you can't even really see that we're back here. And then before I lived here, I lived in Whittier, and I lived in an apartment. So I lived in an apartment, in like a gated apartment on the second story. So like there's no there I couldn't give out candy there either. So it's just for 10 years I just haven't participated in Halloween unless I went like with someone else or like with another like family or something like that and did something. But other than that, usually most of the time I'm just like at home just doing nothing, or like I'll go do something. I'll have like a Halloween party, and then like that's kind of it. But I won't do anything else. So it's like I just don't really do anything for Halloween. But also Halloween, not one of my favorite holidays. It's cool. It's a cool time of the season. But the only reason I enjoy Halloween so much is because it's the precursor to one of my favorite holidays, or like even just times of the year, which is Thanksgiving. Okay, and to anyone, before anyone says anything, starts bitching and moaning about how do you love Thanksgiving? You love celebrating. I'm not gonna say the things that were done to my people also, okay, because I have native blood in me, and obviously no one believes that because I'm like pale and don't speak Spanish or Native American languages either, but whatever. Um, like it's the same reason I like 4th of July is like one of my favorite holidays ever, but it's not because it's like, oh, I love celebrating American independence. I love 4th of July because it's what do you do on 4th of July? You go outside, you get drunk all day, you barbecue, and you blow shit up and set shit on fire. Like how could you not get on board with a holiday like that? How could that not be your favorite holiday? You're out of your fucking mind if you don't think that 4th of July is awesome. You don't have to celebrate. I don't have like, people here. I don't talk to them about independence. I don't go and fucking do anything like that. It doesn't have to be that. It's just celebrating the things that it's just not even celebrating anything. It's just doing the things that you do, which is just set off fireworks and get wasted and eat fucking burgers and shit. Like, it's awesome. How could you not like that? Whatever. Thanksgiving's the same way though. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving because it's like, I want to celebrate the fact that my people were R-worded and murdered. I want to celebrate that, but I like that I can have something where I just, I get to be with my family and we get to cook really good food, and that's like specific to that, type of food. Thanksgiving food, it's my favorite. You get fucking turkey, and you can't have turkey and cranberry like sauce and stuffing and shit in fucking July. Are you out of your mind? That's insanity. Just the thought of it's pissing me off. I would love it because I love that food, but it's just kind of crazy. But that's the thing. For me, it's like, and now, like, since I'm older and I have my own house, yeah, that's right. You heard it here first. Well, the crack house. I always host like Thanksgiving at the crack house, and crack house. I always host it, and it's nice to be able to invite like just like my close friends. And it's not like a big family thing. It's not like I have a bunch of family members here. It's just like, friends of mine that I've been friends with for years that are more family than some of the people who I'm blood related to. And it's always like such a great time. And that's what I'm like super pumped about. And just kind of in general, like the whole like winter season and kind of like the time of giving, giving thanks, even you might say. One of the things that I always do every year as well, like now that it's getting colder, because I know I've talked about this in a past episode, which was we don't really have like 4 seasons in Southern California. We have like 2, and winter is very short, but it can get really brutal, like for like a couple of days, where it'll get like super super cold, and then it'll just kind of pass. Which, granted, obviously, it's like not super. Everyone's always like, "Oh, well, it doesn't even snow," and so how are you cold? This isn't cold. You've never been to fucking Michigan or whatever the fuck. Who cares? Okay, cold is cold. Okay, if it's 20 degrees outside, oh, well, you've never experienced negative 10 degrees. No shit, asshole. Okay, it's still cold. Like what? Whatever. People just piss me the fuck off, and it's like, why are you prideful over weather you've experienced? What kind of fucking loser are you? It's not even that hot. In Arizona, it's like 110 degrees, or in Texas, it gets up to 120, and you guys are complaining about 90 degrees. Suck a dick and stay where you fucking live then. Okay? I'm going to complain. Because once it gets to a certain temperature, it's too hot. It's too hot to function. Over 85, too hot. It's too hot. Uh, Under 30, too cold. That's it. I'll break that down. I'm going to go ahead and set that up for everyone. Okay? Whatever. Every year around this time, once it starts getting cold, I always do this and I always encourage people to do it as well. Which is to just collect all your clothes and shoes, blankets, whatever you have that you're going to get rid of that you don't use. Like, be honest with yourself, because there's a bunch of shit that I don't even know who you are, who's listening to this right now, but I'm sure there's a bunch of shit that's in your house or in your closet or in your whatever that you're not using, that you're not wearing. You swear you're going to wear it and you're not, or you don't. So get rid of it. I work at a thrift store, and it's based completely off of like donations. But don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Bag it up. Make sure they're like nice clothes, warm clothes, nice shoes that you don't wear anymore, and then put them all in a big trash bag and keep them in your trunk. This is especially imperative if you're, like myself, a big guy. Okay? Because your clothes can basically go to anyone. If you're, a girl who's like 90 pounds and like 5'5", then yeah, your clothes are probably pretty limited to who they can go to, but still, you should consider it. Just bag up all your clothes, put them in a trash bag, and keep them in your trunk if you're able to. If you have a car and if you have the space, if you're willing to do it, if you're able to do this, just do it. And if you are driving around anywhere, if you see anyone who is struggling, if you see anyone who is potentially homeless or who's out in the streets, whatever it is, you have stuff now that you can hand out to people. Blankets, there's clothing, shoes, essentials that you could keep. If you're willing to go the extra mile, you can also get like very simple, amenities, or like toiletries for anyone. There's a fucking dog barking outside. It's gonna make me go insane, go goblin mode. But yeah, if you're able to, if you have the ability to do so, then save all that stuff and just keep it in your car. So that way, if you come across anyone who's in need, you can offer it to them. The thing is, you also really need to kind of watch how you approach people, because you'd be surprised. You would think like if you're not like familiar with something like this, about giving, or approaching people who are like in need or who are homeless or whatever the case might be. Not everyone is just going to be receptive to you being like, hey, I have this stuff, like I'm going to give you stuff. Not everyone's okay with that. So be kind of wary, be aware of like how you approach people. Go up to them, greet them, introduce yourself, you know, just go up to them. Hey, how are you doing? I'm so and so. Um, I have some blankets and shoes and clothes. Like, would you like them? And if they say no, say, okay, have a good day. And that's it. That could be the end of it. Because there's been times where this is not even an exaggeration or a joke. This is, I just remember this. I went up to a guy. He was like this older dude walking around, and he is wearing what looks like a towel, or like not like a towel, like a t-shirt. It's like a t-shirt that's like wrapped around his waist and tied off, so it's like kind of showing everything, right? It's like he's not wearing it. It's just like a piece of fabric basically. He's like Tarzan just walking around. And other than that, other than the shirt that's wrapped around his waist and just covering his dick, it's like there's nothing else on his body. Doesn't have anything. So I pull over and I go up to him and I tell him the same thing I said. I introduce myself and I just tell him, hey, you know what? I have some clothes. I have some shoes. Are you interested? And he just goes, no, I'm okay. Thank you. And I go, okay, no problem. And I leave. And I'm like, I get in my car and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you should definitely be interested for the sake of everyone and yourself. But, you know, it's not that simple. And it's, you can't be too like presumptuous or something like that. But for other people, there's plenty of times where I've come up to people and I see people with like just jeans that are like fucking shredded and they're barely covering anything. And like I said, since I'm a big dude, like most of the pairs of pants or jeans or shirts that I have, hoodies that I have, they'll fit most anyone. They'll fit anyone my size or smaller. And there's a lot of people that are my size or smaller. So it's pretty easy to be able to give out any clothes that I have. And I've come up to people and said, you know, I have a pair of jeans in my car. Would you like them? And they're like, yeah, that would be great. Awesome. And then just go, hand them out. Here, do you need a pair of shoes too? What size shoes are you? Oh, I'm a 10. Oh, these are 11. It's like, is that okay? Yeah, cool. They won't give a fuck if they need shoes. If they're willing to take like stuff that's going to keep them safe, keep them protected, you know, keep them warm, then it's like, why would they say no? You know, but that's the thing. You can't presume that they're going to need it or that they're going to say yes and just be like, well, of course you need it. Like, you need my trash. You know, it's not like that. Like, don't approach it that way. But, you know, that's the thing. It's something that can really impact someone and help them a lot. So, oh my God, Clementine just jumped up on something and scared the shit out of me. I don't know if you guys heard that, but yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people should do and should consider if you're able to do it. Like I said, also, if you're willing to go the extra mile and you're able to make like toiletry bags with like either soaps, sanitizers, small toiletries, even like, you know, pads or tampons or anything, you know, like it can be really the extent of what you're able to do rather than, you know, just like thinking of like something to go out of your way for. It's like, if you can do it, great. If you can't, then just try to just give clothes. Like, you don't have to pay extra to just give away the stuff that you already don't use. And it could be life changing to someone, you know. It could be very impactful, especially with the weather change the way it's coming. So, something to consider. You can also consider giving someone food. You know, we always have a bunch of leftovers. You make up a plate for them, make a few plates, just pass them out. Someone gets a home cooked meal when they might be struggling in the streets. It might be something that's been like this for years, and they haven't had a home cooked meal in fucking years, and they're just used to eating whatever they can, or coming across this or that. But it can really be the difference for some people. This actually reminds me of like something that happened pretty recently, like maybe a month or two ago. But it's like normally, I know I know this is like, I kind of feels like it goes against everything I just said. Where I was like, you really consider, people who are in these hard situations, go out of your way to, if you're able to, you should go out of your way to help people out. Give things that you can give to whatever extent that that might be. And then now I'm going to be telling you guys how I'm like, anytime people ask me for money, I'm like, fuck you, don't talk to me, you dirty bum. Um which is basically what happens. I do not like giving money out to people. It's just like a thing that I have. Like, I don't like giving out money because, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard because it's hard for me to determine whether or not someone is in need if they're just asking for money, if that makes sense. Because people panhandle and abuse other people's, like, or not even abuse, but just use people's like willingness to give to their advantage. And that's fucked up because it's like, if you're willing and you're able, or not, I guess willing, but if you're able to work and contribute or do things like, and you just don't because you're like, well, people are just going to give me money if I ask. So I'll just do that and not do any, like, not contribute or reciprocate in any way. It's just like shitty. So when people ask for money, or like, are set up somewhere asking for money, and it's like, I don't know if I trust you, because like, money, of course, is gonna, like, everyone needs money, right? There's like three people in the world, or not three people, probably like a few hundred people in the world that don't need money because they're so rich it doesn't fucking matter anymore. But for the most part, all of us need money. Like, if someone was like, hey, do you want like $5,000? I'd be like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, all of us, everyone's in need in different ways, in, whatever. But that's the thing. When someone is asking for money and they're like just kind of somewhere, or like outside of a store, hey, do you have a few bucks to spare? And it's like, I don't know. I not only do I not really carry cash in general, I guess most people don't anymore either, but I just kind of feel weird giving money where I'd rather give you the thing that you need, right? If someone's like, because I've been told this too, like, I'm really hungry. Can you buy me, just like let's say outside of like a 7-Eleven, they're like, can you just buy me like a sandwich from inside? Like, I'm really hungry. I'm not going to buy you just a sandwich. It's like, what do you want from the store? Do you want, like, I'll get you a couple sandwiches, I'll get you some chips, drinks, water, do you need this? Do you need, like, I'll fucking drop a good amount of money on stuff that I know you're going to use, because it's like, it's not money. You're not going to go just fucking, oh, cool, like, I just got money off this guy. Well, now I can go buy this new game that I wanted for my Xbox. And it's like, you're just panhandling. Versus someone who's outside and they're like, I'm in need because, like, I'm really hungry and I don't have any money to buy food. And it's different. Like, I'm way, way more willing to buy someone something that they're requesting rather than just giving them money. And just because I've seen it, where it's just, I know people are panhandling. You could just tell with some people, especially when you, like, I live in LA, so it's like you see people all the time who are actually homeless. And people who are actually homeless don't typically like beg too much, because they're just, like, they'll get money through some means or whatever the case might be. But um they, like, when you're panhandling, it just kind of feels like very apparent. So I like to buy things for people, like the things that they're requesting. And that also comes down to, this is another thing, people are always like, um I don't want to give people money that are like homeless because I'm afraid they're going to spend it on like booze or drugs or whatever. And it's actually Carter, who was on episode 3. Shout out my boy Carter Jarvis. Go check him out. Uh, he kind of put it the like perfect way, which is like people are afraid of giving someone money who's like homeless or anything like that because they're like, well, I don't want to give them money because what if they spend it on drugs? What if they spend it on alcohol? And the way Carter put it was just, he lives outside. Like, what different? Like, of course he can buy booze and drugs. Like, I'm going to be the one to spend this money. This like $20 bill is going to go to booze or drugs, regardless. And I at least get to sleep in a house tonight. He doesn't. He sleeps outside, on the floor probably. Buy booze, buy drugs, do whatever you want. I'm not here to be your fucking counselor. The thing is, it's like if you don't know if someone is, completely fine and they're just panhandling. That's where my issue is. But if you're homeless and you're in need, but you're like, hey, I want to get drunk. I'm like, so do I, man. I have a fucking job and a house and a car payment. I have a bunch of shit I have to do, a bunch of responsibilities and stress and anxiety and depression, all this different shit. And it's like, I want to get drunk. And you probably have some, if not all of those things as well. But you don't have a car. You don't have a house. Like, you have to sleep outside. Go for it. So I'd gone to a gas station that like I go to frequently, like to pick up drinks. And I walk up and there's this guy. He doesn't look old. He looks like he's maybe in his like late 20s. Like he looks younger than me. And I see him, but he's like, it's late. It's like maybe 10 or 11 at night. And he is he's wearing like jacked up clothes, like ripped up clothes. He's dirty. He's like, his hair's like really like fucked up. You could tell it's like dirty in his hair too. Like, he hasn't showered like in a long time. And he's like kind of just talking to himself and like going up to the door, and he's kind of like banging on the door to the gas station and like saying stuff. He's kind of just talking to himself and like wandering around the parking lot. And so I get out of my car and I get out of my Lambo, and as I'm like walking up, he kind of comes up to me and he's like, hey, excuse me, sir. Like, I don't mean to bug. Like, he snaps out of being crazy basically because he's talking to himself. And then he just kind of snaps out of it, and he's like, hey, excuse me, sir. Like, I don't mean to bother you, but do you think you can get me a beer? And without hesitation, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. No problem. I love buying people booze in general. I'll buy any, if someone's like, hey, I want to get drunk, I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I love getting drunk. Let's do it. I'll drink one with you. So he asked me, and he's just like, can you get me I think it was like a King Cobra, because, he's insane. So that's only insane people drink King Cobra. Let's just put that out there, okay? You're either homeless or you're insane or you're both. Okay? Sorry, but no, I'm not, because you're out of your fucking mind if you're drinking King Cobras all the time. Anyway, so he goes, can you get me a 40 of King Cobra? And I was like, absolutely. And I was like, is that all you want? And he goes, yeah, that's all I want. I'm like, if I appreciate it. And I was like, okay, stay right here. I'll bring you your drink. I go in, I get my shit, and I think I get him 2 of them. And I get a bag, and I go out and go back to my car. I take my drinks out of the bag, put them in the back seat, and I hand him the bag with the 2 drinks. And I just tell him, like, hey, you need to leave these people alone, though, because the people that work at the gas station, I know them. They're really cool. So I'm like, you can't keep bugging and harassing these people. Okay? They're trying to do their job. Just leave them alone. Here's your drinks. And he's like, No, yeah, my bad. Like I don't know why I was doing that, but thank you. Like thank you so much. Thank you. And he takes the beers and he walks off and leaves. And that's it. And because when I went in to buy the drinks, the cashier was also like, yeah, this guy just keeps fucking, um, like he's just outside and he's like, just kind of like yelling and he's like, just, he's just fucking crazy. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So when I give him the drinks, he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to take off. And he grabs his beers and he leaves. Awesome. I get to contribute to this man's probably mental health problems, but whatever. You know, we all have mental health problems, I'm sure. Most of us do. And then when you meet someone who doesn't, you're like, what the fuck? You just go to sleep sober and you go to sleep like feeling okay. And then you just go day in and day out without hearing voices in your head. And they're like, yep. And you're like, whatever. You're out of your mind. But the moral of the story, I think, I don't know if there was a moral of the story. Whatever. If you have the means to give, this is the time to do it. Go out of your way. Stop being a piece of shit. Go through all your clothes and get rid of what you don't need. Go through all your blankets and pillows. Get rid of what you don't need. Bag it all up, keep it with you, and give it to someone who's in need. If you make a bunch of food and you're like, oh, all these leftovers are going to go bad, do something nice for once, you piece of shit. And go and make some plates of food and pass them out to people who are in need. Because this is a hard time of year. And it's not only hard because of the weather, it's not only hard because of the fact that people are in need already, but it's the fact that this is a time of togetherness and some people don't even have that. Some people don't even have the luxury of being able to be with friends or loved ones. Some people don't even have friends or loved ones and don't even have a house or a car or anything at all. And if you do have those things, if you have someone who cares about you, if you have a fucking like house to live in, if you have stuff that you have every day, you have luxuries that you don't think of as luxuries, put it in perspective. Go out of your way and try to do something nice for someone one time. And I guarantee once you get that interaction, it's going to change your outlook on everything. And for you, it might be something small. For someone else, it could be the difference between continuing on or not caring. So I appreciate you guys listening to this very up and down kind of emotional episode. But yeah, thanks guys. And hopefully this puts something in perspective for everyone. But thank you for listening as always, and be safe, be kind to everyone, and yeah. Okay, bye.